Hey guys, how you doing? It's me, Lorenzo Green, your host, and you're watching My Sound, brought to you by VA Artistry and NNPS TV. Coming up, we're going to talk to Chuck Daly, manager of a record store, about how people listen to music. We're going to check out DOPE, definition of percussion entertainment, from a recent trip we took to Virginia Beach. We're going to talk to Anthony Green Jr., a local writer based right here in Hampton Roads. Finally, Josh Stout is going to sit down and talk to some music educators about the importance of art in school.
I'm Chuck Daly. I'm the manager here at American Oldies. I've been working here about 10 years. I've been managing for probably about 5 years. I've been shopping here for the life of the store, which is about 25 years. Doug Crane, the owner whose picture is on the wall. Doug owns the business. He's based out of New Jersey. Yeah, when I started working in record stores, I guess I was in the work program at Hayfield High School up in Alexandria. I was the lucky student to get the job at the record store. My very first day was about a week after Elvis Presley died. Of course, that was just crazy pandemonium with crazed Elvis fans lining up at the door before we opened. But of course, years ago when the store opened up, it was pretty much all vinyl. And then over the years, it's kind of shifted. But at one time, the store was all vinyl up here with just a few boxes of CDs that were laid out on the counter. You know, a lot of people my age, what they did is they sold all their records sometime around the early 90s. And now a lot of people are trying to recapture their old record collections that they sold 20, 25 years ago. Of course, you know, when you want to replace your Pink Floyd and your Beatles and your Grateful Dead and your Jimi Hendrix albums, they're very hard to find, and it is unbelievable. Records that just a few years ago I was only getting like $4 or $5 for, that like I can ask $15 and $20 on now and get it. You know, the whole rebirth of vinyl, as they call it, it's still very active. It's unbelievable that 10 years ago, vinyl was just a very small part of the overall total sales.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, Lord.
I just think it's kind of funny that the headline here, and this came from the Daily Press, is Return of the Record. So this is 24 years ago, almost 25 years ago. And so I wonder, because we hear now about the rebirth of vinyl and the rebirth of the record. So like, I wonder, did like records die and come back and die and come back? Did they never die? Have they died 1,000 deaths? What's going on with that? In another 10 years or another 15 years, will people collect CDs like they do vinyl? Will there be a headline in the Daily Press one day that says "Return of the Compact Disc"? I don't know. I wish I knew. I can think of at least 4 record stores that existed in about a mile or a mile and a half right here on Warwick. And I can't believe American Oldies is the last man standing. That like, we beat Tower Records, we beat Sam Goody's, we beat CD Warehouse. I can't believe we're the last man standing.
So I guess we should start saving our CDs in case they're worth something someday. Coming up, here's Josh Stout talking to Anthony Green Jr., a local author based right here in Hampton Roads, who's currently working on his 4th book.
Thanks, Lorenzo. That's right. I'm here with local author Anthony Green Jr. We are here at the Slover Library, downtown Norfolk. Anthony Green Jr., how you doing, man?
Good, man. Always a pleasure.
Good to see you. So, what you been up to? What you been working on?
Man, I've been, since Days dropped last year around March, man, I've been really just, taking the time and enjoying it.
Yeah.
Just shopping it around, doing more research, getting ready for book 4, and just enjoying my time off, really, before I start writing again.
What's book 4 gonna be?
Oh, man, I don't know if I want to reveal the title yet, but
what can you tell me? What can you tell me?
Book 4 is actually a part 2 to book 3. I can tell you that much. And it kind of like piggybacks off the concept of book 3.
Okay, so book 3 is
Days at the Arcade.
Days.
Right. Days at the Arcade, playing Far From the Tree.
All right, and then so book 4 is going to be.
Book 4
the
is
sequel.
Yes, book 4 is actually Days at the Arcade, blank, 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 blank.
Gotcha.
All right, so it's
all right.
this.
You can't reveal. It's top
Right,
secret.
top secret right now.
All right, so you're gearing up for the sequel. What's your process in doing so? Like when you start writing, you know, what's that going to be like for you?
Oh, it's
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's fine. Days in a room, man. It's hours of. I wake up in the morning, 4 or 5 a.m. and it's research. It's research.
What do you research?
Everything, anything. Cause that's how I find my concepts. You know, I read a lot. I write a lot. I throw out a lot. I watch a lot of film. I do a lot of, you know, it's history things. I listen to a lot of music on the same things that I'm writing on.
Yeah.
You know, just to kind of, you know.
So it's more than just sitting there writing.
Because I want it to be relatable. Yeah, it's the whole process for me. Ever since Perspectives wasn't that way, Things Built wasn't necessarily that way, but since I've started this whole Days, yeah, it's been deeper.
That was your first.
That's
book.
my first project, yes.
Okay.
Dating back to Perspectives. So I would write, then I'd take a year off. So it's like 19, I did Perspectives, 20, I took a year off. Wrote Things Built, took a year off. Wrote Days, took a year off. So it's like, I'm in that period now where I'm taking a year off, but it's been a year already so now I gotta start writing. I'm about to be 24, and my 4th book is out on my 25th birthday, so.
So you're after Days at the Arcade, and you're going to the sequel, and you're working up to start to.
I'm about to. It's a bitter-sweet thing because I know how I get when I'm writing, and it's a lockdown mode. It's just I'm so focused, and I'm not ready. I'm kind of dreading getting in there, but once I'm in there, I love it. It's one of those things. Once I'm in it and I'm immersed in it, I love it.
How and why did you get your start doing something? Like
Okay.
what drives you?
Okay, that's a good question. So I got my start. I started writing seriously when I was 15 years old. My mom bought me a keyboard when I was 15.
Okay.
And at first, I wanted to be Kanye West. I wanted to be some type of storyteller, and I started thinking like a rapper can only rap for so long. You know, it's a young man's game. That's what people say, but I can write until I die, the day I die.
You plan on going as long as you can.
Till the day I die, yes.
Gotcha. But so is there like a musical perspective or like a musical drive that sort of pushes
Right,
you in a way?
because to this day, I still play the piano when in the beginning of my projects. All my writing sessions start with like chords, like we spoke about before. So yeah.
So, who are some of your influences? Like,
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Who made you want to start doing that?
They
What
come
was
from
their
all the arts. So musically, the concepts of Pink Floyd, 90s hip hop, A Tribe Called Quest, Heavy, Rest in Peace, Phife Dawg, Outkast. It's just my favorite musicians are great writers, whether it be film or music or whatever. My favorite people in the arts are just great writers. Like Kanye's a great writer. Andre 3000 is a great writer. Phife Dawg, great writer. These guys are great writers. Stan Lee, great writer. He created a whole world. Spike Lee,
Created
great
a
writer.
universe. Yeah.
Exactly. So his imagination, that's what gets me. Pink Floyd, great writer. Sid Barrett, that's the
Absolutely.
guys
What sort of a progress have you seen yourself make since you
Since
started?
19?
Since Perspectives.
A lot of growth because in anything you do, you're your biggest critic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And at 23, I can't make it through Perspectives. I'm just like analyzing and I'm correcting what I should have said, and so it's always growth from Perspectives to Things Built.
I think I know what you mean.
Right.
Like, I'm critiquing this interview right now in
Right.
my head. Like,
Right.
there's stuff I said a minute ago that I'm like, dang, that sucked.
And people will say that's a great interview you did, Josh, but you're like, oh man, I should have did this, or your angles or whatever.
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
same way I am with writing, because I'm analyzing. It's like I'm watching film like athletes. You watch a game, they play the great games, but
Yeah.
after the game, they go back and watch films. Coach says, oh, you should have did this, or you should have did that. This is how I look at my projects now. Like Days and my 4th project are what's going to get me to the big leagues.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. So.
What are some things, or what are some themes rather, that you like to write about?
Like everybody, love. That's one of the biggest things.
And that truck is really loud. That truck.
Oh, yeah, these guys backing up.
All right, like you're stopped
Up
and
in.
you're still beeping. What is going on?
Get out of here.
Go. All right, there we go. All right, so what are some themes that you like to write?
Right,
I'm keeping that, by the way.
This experience, man. Like in Days, I feel like that's my best concept piece of work, and that's all about hope and finding what you want to do in dreams and fighting for it, and the things shortcomings. That's where the majority of my writing comes from, writing on shortcomings.
And so where can people find you?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, anywhere, type in my name in Google and there you have it. It's what platform you want to,
And so you were telling me
tribute
about
to.
Genius earlier.
Right,
Tell me about
Genius. Rap Genius just created a platform called Lit Genius, right? So we can put literary works up and artists or authors can go in there and annotate their own things. And I thank you, Genius, for doing that because that reaches a masses of people. So
Yeah.
right.
I knew about Genius before, but it had always been Rap Genius.
Right.
It was never
And since-
Lit Genius before. I never knew about that.
Right, and since things built, I'm trying to tell my friends, man, this writing thing, like I'm I'm good, man. You guys gotta, and them being your friends, like, man, you still the same old, Anthony to me, but Rap Genius is what you say, okay, man, now you making moves.
Yeah.
So finally,
They're like,
so,
okay, that's legit.
so that's
You're
cool.
on Rap Genius.
Right, that's cool. So yeah.
And so if anybody wants to know what you're talking about, they can
Yeah,
easily
the
go
breakdowns to my poems because every line means something and it all ties in.
What can we expect from you in the future?
I'm just getting deeper. I'm getting more innovative every year.
Yeah.
And I want to start, doing visuals a lot. Maybe a short film based on my books or something like that. I want to start shopping for that. Just another way to put something out.
Yeah. So
Better
just
content.
another view at what you're writing
Right.
about.
Right.
Got you. All right. Well, I mean, that's all she wrote. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you for joining me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Here we have.
Malcolm Chavez.
And Damian Walker.
All right, we have some street performers today. Very interesting street performers. These are some of the best drummers I've seen in a while. Where did y'all learn this skill?
Well, we actually been playing drums pretty much all our lives, but we learned the freestyle type of drum from a good friend of ours named Malik Stewart. He's from Washington, D.C., and his movement is Definition of Percussion Entertainment. So DOPE is the acronym.
And that's what we doing right now, man.
Yeah, we just spreading the movement.
I see what you're saying. Where y'all from?
Washington, D.C., man.
Washington,
Born and
DC.
raised.
Born and raised. Cool. Tell us about DOPE, man. Talk to me.
Definition of Percussion Entertainment. It's the best acronym in the world, DOPE. DOPE can be anything that you do.
Anything.
Right now, your shirt is dope. Your hat is dope. What you're doing right now, you guys are dope right now. Because
love a
dope is just expressing yourself in a high fashion.
Artistic way.
Exactly,
Yeah,
man.
so like when we do performances, like wherever, like we usually sometimes we're in DC. It's dancers out there. You got different other musicians out there, So it's
got
not
rappers,
just
we
it's
got-
not just
yeah.
drums, but it just grounded up from the percussion. So
Oh, yeah, man.
yeah, it's all kinds of art, really.
It's beautiful. That's what we're all about, man. That's what we're all
Sir.
about. So what brings you to Vibe Beach?
Man, I heard that VA Beach turns up,
Turns
but
up.
I'm looking around, nobody turning up.
We
So
tryna
that's
get
our
that
job.
energy up.
We
Yeah,
came
yeah.
here to be the turn up of VA Beach,
Yeah.
and that's what we're gonna do. As a matter of fact, catch us in what, like out 2 hours?
Yeah.
Tonight.
Yeah,
Tonight
we-
we turning up the whole VA Beach.
Oh, we gonna
Single-handedly, DOPE is turning up Virginia Beach. Get that on camera. Tonight,
Tonight.
Dope.
DOPE is turning up VA Beach. Saturday night, Memorial Weekend. It's going down.
Yeah, because we're from Baltimore, Maryland, so we just came up
Yeah.
yesterday, and so we've been out here pretty much all day. So we'll be here all day, all night.
You gotta follow the movement, man. All right, so look, the leaders, like Malik Stewart, his Instagram is Dat Real Drummer, DAT Real Drummer, all one word. My Instagram is Percussion King, all one word.
My Instagram is 24_N as in Nancy _ booming, 24 and booming. So we got we just dropped a YouTube video yesterday. Check us out, subscribe and everything. We'll see all We see
All
this
this
all
good
over
stuff.
YouTube.
It's
Yep.
more of us, man. It's not just me and him,
Yeah.
man. We dope is everywhere. I promise you it is. It's everywhere. So look out for us, man.
Spreading the movement.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, we're gonna turn up for y'all
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Oh, wait.
Right now. Yeah.
Oh, wait, right now?
Gotcha.
This very second.
Hey, Blake, take him.
My name is Josh Stout. I'm here today with Director of Bands at Heritage High School, Mr. Arrington, guitar, piano, and music theory instructor at Mitchell High School, Mr. Mercier, and aspiring musical genius, Mr. Noah Nip. We're here today to discuss some issues involved with music education, and let's just go ahead and start with, to you, Mr. Mercier, Mr. Arrington, let's just start with a little bit about your experience teaching music. When, where, how did you get your start?
Oh wow, the story goes for about 25 years. I've been in the arts since elementary school. I'm a student, started out on trombone, went through the high school ranks in Hampton City Schools, Phoebus High grad, graduated from college at Hampton University on a band scholarship. At Lee Hall Elementary is where I got my start as general music teacher, taught at Rich Neck Elementary and at Saunders Elementary. I've had the opportunity to be the director of bands at Huntington Middle School and most currently at Heritage High School.
Yourself?
Well, I'm born and raised in Newport News and a product of Newport News Public Schools, so also local. As a student at Hines Middle School, I did 3 years of clarinet. Was never very good at that. And when I got to high school, I decided I wanted to be a guitarist and start a rock band. So taught myself how to play guitar, had a little band, and played that kind of thing. And went to college initially to do stuff like you guys do here at Telecom. I wanted to be into mass communications, and for some reason I changed my mind and decided to become a music major. Went to Christopher Newport University. Started teaching private lessons while I was a student there, so that was sort of where I got my feet wet teaching, was privately. And when I graduated from Christopher Newport, started working, was very fortunate, got a job at Newport News Public Schools teaching at Menchville High School. Also have taught at Woodside High School, and for the last 10 years I've also taught at Summer Institute of the Arts. I've also taught at Christopher Newport University for their MAT program.
And just so the world knows, the name of your band.
No, we don't want the world to know that, I don't think.
And as for you, Noah, when and where did you start learning about music?
Well, at my house, pretty much like everybody played an instrument. Like my dad, my older brother, and my sister all played guitar, and then my little brother played drums, and my mom sang. So I was like the only one that really didn't play an instrument. And at first, I really didn't even want to play guitar. I actually wanted to be completely different from all of them, and I wanted to play like bassoon. But then I was like, that's too expensive. So I just randomly picked up a guitar and started playing, and fell in love pretty much.
So it was you were born into a musical family.
Yeah, kind of.
That's pretty cool. So we all know there've been many studies, proving that music and arts education can be very beneficial. Can you share any real life examples of things that you've seen with your students?
I think we have plenty of examples. Noah Nip was an F student before he arrived in guitar class, and now he's gets straight into pop. He was a perfectly good student before that. We look at this year's graduating class, and if you look at the top 50 graduates from Menchville High School this year, 28 were enrolled in music courses. So when you consider that 56% of our top 50 graduates were music students, but music students only really comprise about 20% of our population, those are pretty good results. I've had any number of students and have seen any number of students who arrive at Menchville High School on the fence. We'll call them on the fence, academically, socially, don't feel like they necessarily have a particular direction. They get into these classes and they find a passion for music, which opens up the rest of those academic opportunities for them. It's something that connects them to school. It's something that makes them more interested. I could probably list you 50 examples. I just, you know.
We don't have that much.
We don't have that much time, so.
To continue to add to Pete, absolutely. In the music classroom or in the band classroom, the orchestra classroom, the choral classroom, it's a fact. These students are high achievers. They definitely can handle the rigors and the workload because they know that they're always working towards that performing opportunity. These are the kids that attend school regularly, so they have the best attendance. These are the kids that are not getting into trouble and are the discipline problems because they know, a part of their day is going to consist of being in that classroom. And then, of course, most importantly, the facts have also shown they are the ones that score higher on those standardized testing situations that we all have to deal with. Most recently, I actually had the salutatorian from my high school as the first chair flute player in my class. So the fact of the matter is our kids are performing extremely well, taking AP courses, taking a heavy workload, and doing extremely well in those courses because they've learned some of the discipline and the qualities that are needed and necessary to be a top flight performer, but then also being able to translate that into the classroom.
I would also throw out there too that the skills that one learns in a music ensemble, those skills of collaboration, of critical thinking, of problem solving, these are those skills that employers want in the 21st century.
That's a great point.
Well, here's a chance for kids to learn those skills and put them into action and utilize those skills every day and to improve their abilities to think critically and to work together to team solve problems. So that's something that we offer, I think, in music particularly.
It's definitely maybe an indirect benefit that a lot of people just don't see on the surface, that really these skills that you learn in music are the exact same skills you're going to need in life. Noah, as a student who's taken several AP classes, how do you think your involvement in your music courses has affected that?
I think it's helped me, really, because it's made me want to learn about not just music, but my learning about music has made me want to learn about other subjects as well, because I know I'm going to need it all later when I go to college, and it's all going to help me,
Those skills can be applied to those other classes as well.
Yeah, and I can kind of find a way to relate it to music, like if I'm working on a project in English, I'm like, oh, it's just like I'm writing a song or something.
There you go.
Yeah, I lived in the band room myself. It was a safe place to be, especially if you come up in an area that maybe isn't so safe. That's where my first friends, when I got to high school, because you have to deal with the transition of going just to high school. My first friends, the people that I connected with before anybody, I got a chance to meet them in summer banks, and those relationships remained for those 4 years. And let me tell you, it was just a blessing in disguise just to have, that outlet and have that place I could go that I was safe. I could, share and benefit, and whether it was good times or not so good times, that was a place that was almost like a second home.
We've all heard of the STEM initiative, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's definitely a great initiative to kind of prepare 21st century students for 21st century jobs and careers, of course, hopefully. A lot of people, though, have said that maybe it should be STEAM rather than STEM, add art to the equation.
Having an arts initiative or adding that component, it would be incredible. It would be huge for the position that we're trying to place our particular arts realm in Newport News Public Schools. I can't speak for everybody, but I know it would definitely stick and make a huge, significant difference here. But in having that as a caveat, something to say, we really support this initiative and this is something we're all about, I think it would only enhance what we do. I think the biggest thing that we deal with the current makeup with the magnet system, the various high schools, and then STEM being kind of the prominent focus, we put kids in a situation where they have to choose. Either you're going to be a scientist, an engineer, a mathematician, or something down that realm, or you have to go in the technology field, when we should be saying, no, you don't have to choose. Know all of your avenues, know all of the options that you have available to you. What if the arts is the one place you excel? What if that's the one place you succeed, and that's that class that you can go to and say, you know what, I guarantee I'm going to go there and perform well. But around that, we're still reinforcing that these other jobs and other benefits are out there. So just knowing that you're giving kids options and they don't have to pick and choose, either I have to go in this field or I have to go in that field to live out my life.
I sort of have a couple of takes on this. As Mr. Arrington mentioned, our district was named one of the best communities for music education in the country. That's something to be very proud of. It's something to continue to push and promote, I think, as a school district, because this is the kind of success that breeds more success. I think with STEAM, you go back and you look at the teachings of Socrates, and you jump ahead and you look at Martin Luther, and you look at John Adams, or you look at Albert Einstein, and they all have the same take on the importance of the arts. They view them as essential. These are essential aspects of human life. And if you look at the history of humans, music is something that cavemen were making. It's a form of communication. Art, visual art, has been around since cavemen were scratching things on their walls. And they are essential aspects of human existence. I think that the STEAM initiative is the wave of the future. I think if you look at, there's a quote from John Adams, second President John Adams, that indicated something of the effect, I'm not going to get it exactly right, but he said, my fathers studied the trades, became blacksmiths and woodworkers and carpenters, and so that my generation could study politics and science, so that my children can study the arts. And what he was pointing out in this long quote, which I have truncated far too much here, is that the ideal world to many of these great thinkers is a world where people do spend inordinate amounts of time studying the arts. I think my other spin on this is that when you study something like music, it's such a holistic field that incorporates science, it incorporates math, it incorporates every kind of learning.
In a very natural way as well.
In a very natural, exactly, absolutely. It's got a history of itself that connects to the rest of the history of the world. So if you're just looking to improve science outcomes from a student or teacher perspective, music will help. That's what all the research indicates. So I think STEAM is the way to go. I think it's a smart move, and I think you'll find STEM improves because of adding the A.
Music is a language. Quite frankly, it's a foreign language, just like we have academic requirements to have a foreign language to get our high school diploma. Music is also a component where you're taking something where I can go anywhere in the world, quite frankly. I can go anywhere in the world, and I can sit in any ensemble, and I can read the notes that are on those lines and those spaces along with any musician. And even though we may not speak the same language, we may not come from the same culture, same background, we can communicate using our instruments because we all have the training and the understanding and the literacy to be able to get our points across and understand the directions that come up in that musical roadmap. So there are, some significant components, and I've taught at, the pre-K to 12th level, so I'm seeing even in young children, it's almost a joy for reading. If you get them excited about music or excited about learning a new song or learning the written notation, sometimes that even carries over into literacy. That's really what it's about. Education and tying it all in, because music is all of the core subjects.
And to conclude, Noah, after you graduate, do you plan on continuing your music education? And if so, do you have an idea of a career path that you'd like to pursue? And frankly, would it be in music?
Yeah, I definitely want to continue to study music after I graduate. I want to go to college and learn about writing music more. I actually want to write music for TV shows or movies or stuff like that, really.
So that's the career path you're hoping to pursue?
Yeah, that's what I want to try and do.
That's awesome. Well, that's all the time that we have. I wish we could elaborate further. But thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us. Once again, this is My Sound. Please stay tuned for the next installment.
Thank you for watching My Sound. Your host, Lorenzo Green. Join us next time. Hey guys, how you doing? It's me, Lorenzo Green, your host. What was the first part? Son of a. Oh, you ready? Yeah, it's real. My brain was like, focus, focus, focus. Okay, I got this. Once again, your host, Lorenzo Green. Thank you. Come again. Wait, what was